Here in October, we're in the midst of our generosity emphasis. Our team has been working on some things to share with you, and Dia, who's just finished singing, actually wrote a skit to share with us today, too, so we're excited to hear Dia sharing, and Leslie.
Hey, Dia.
Hey, Leslie.
How are you?
I'm fine. Well, not really, sort of. It's just, we've started this generosity push, and it's the same thing every year, you know? We're invited to grow in our generosity for God, but sometimes I feel like I'm just being asked to give more time, more talent, more money, right? And I want to give, I really do, but with everything going on with the economy and in my life right now, I just don't have those resources to give more than I already do. And it makes me feel guilty. Because I want to, but where am I going to find another dollar or even another hour in my day?
Yeah, I get that. But you know what? Maybe there's a different way to look at it. You know, this year, we have the theme of God's limitless light. The light shines through us in different ways, you know, by the time we dedicate, the talents that we share, the gifts we give, and the service we provide. We're being asked to consider how we are reflecting God's light to others through these things, but also to think about how we have received that reflected light through the generosity of others.
Okay, well, you know, now that I think about it, I had an experience recently where someone's generosity made a huge difference to me. So, a few weeks ago, I have this friend at work, and we've worked together for over 20 years. We've shared a lot of triumphs and a lot of tears together. Yeah. As a teacher, you know what I'm talking about. And and she's the kind of friend that I can share my faith with. I can talk to her about God, even though we're from very different faith traditions.
Sure.
And she's actually a bit younger than I am.
Yeah.
But still, she's just easy to talk to about things like that. And I checked in with her the beginning of that week, and I said, hey, how you doing? How's things going? And she's like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, girl, I got some things I need to tell you.
Yeah.
So we kept missing each other all week long with everything going on, and it just was a real challenging week. We just kept missing each other. And Friday came along, and we only had a half day of school, and then all the teachers had to spread out into the district in different buildings.
That awesome PD day.
Yeah, awesome PD
right,
day.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You know that. Yeah. And so I didn't get to talk to her, and I figured, well, we're just not going to get to each other. And I was carrying some pretty heavy stuff. But then at the end of the day, I checked my phone. I'd already done my meeting. I was in my car. Checked my phone, and she had put a message out that said a text to the group saying, I'm going back to my office at school, and if you need to check in with me, I'll be there. And I kind of felt like that was a message for me. Something was telling me I needed
absolutely.
to go. So I went back to school. And I went to her office, and we sat there. I walked in, and we talked, and we started out sharing about, everything that had gone on that week. I gave her some professional advice because I'm a bit older than she is, and so professional help.
Seasoned.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Seasoned. That's a better word. And then once we got past all that, then the real reason for the two of us to get together came out. And I was sharing with her that previous weekend, I was having a rough week. And the anniversary of Stuart's death, my husband, was coming up for the 6-month anniversary. And I was just struggling. And that previous weekend, I was driving down Clemson Road, and clear as day, I felt this wave of just rage pour over me. And I knew what it was. I was furious. I was angry with God. And I mean, I've read all the stuff. I know the stages of grief. I knew what it was. My head was trying to reason through all of that. This is what you're supposed to do, but my heart wasn't dealing with that well. And so I had carried that with me all week long, and I had wanted to talk with her about it. And so I poured that out to her while we sat there. I poured all that out to her. I poured out my anger and my frustration and just cried. And she was so generous. She opened her heart and she just listened to me.
Yeah.
And she offered just God's love and reassurance of God's love no matter what, and just made me feel like, it was going to be okay. And then she shared with me that that previous week I knew had been hard for her because her sister had passed away a year ago that week.
Wow.
And so we had already shared some tears from that, and she just opened her heart and talked to me about how she was angry with her sister.
Sure.
Which, so then we shared, and I opened and just left myself open and listened. And we spent 2 hours sitting there, at least 2 hours.
On a Friday afternoon?
On a Friday. Girl, there is no teacher. There is nothing like teacher tired on a Friday afternoon. And there I was just pouring my heart, and she poured her heart, and the generosity that flowed between us was just amazing. And we got it out. We laughed, we cried, we shared love, and then we got up, we walked out, we hugged in the parking lot, and we left each other with a smile.
Yeah.
And I truly feel like that was sacred time.
Absolutely.
Really sacred.
Yeah.
Really sacred. She was very special. So, yeah.
You know what? It's funny how God puts people like in our hearts, in our paths that really can share generosity, God's love and his generosity with us. I'm sorry that you're really going through that. It sounds like it was a hard time for both of y'all.
Yeah.
It turns out you were actually a blessing for her just as she was for you. In your case, God's limitless light reflected both ways.
Yeah, it really was. It really did. And I was truly blessed to be a blessing. Like that verse in Genesis, I think it was Abraham.
Yeah.
And she helped me so much when I was at a low point to keep that light of God shining in me. And I hope I was able to reflect that back to her in return. Leslie, thank you. Thank you. I plan to pay more attention to all the ways that the generosity of others is poured into me and how I can reflect God's limitless light back out into the world using the gifts God's blessed me with.
You mean more than you already do.
Yeah, like mess up at the truck. Anyway, thanks for listening to me.
Absolutely, anytime.
And I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday.
Yes, ma'am. See you next Sunday.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
That was a wonderful story that Dia was able to share with us about generosity, and that generosity came in the form of listening and talking and sharing. It also came through the text that you all should have received, or if you didn't, there's a hard copy and a QR code out there that you can share any kind of story about what generosity means to you or how you've observed it. You don't have to give your name. Anonymous is fine. One of the stories that was shared anonymously was about how, despite their parents not having a lot, they were always mindful of others that were in need and always put something in the envelope on Sunday. And that made me think about my parents doing that. I could watch my mom put the dollars in the envelope on Sunday, and I thought, well, that's just going to keep the lights on, pay the pastor, that kind of thing. But as I got older and I realized what that really meant, and especially here at Living Springs, it goes way beyond the walls. It really does. All the kinds of generosity, people spending their time doing whatever it is they're doing, writing skits, doing the live stream, singing, whatever it is you're doing, and the dollars or pennies that you put in the bucket or the offering plate, it really goes a long way. And hopefully we can all find a way to just dig down a little bit and make those things happen just a little bit more. Thank you.
Amen.